Good morning. Well, we finished off last week with Joseph, Mary, Jesus, and the other people in their party returning from Egypt. This is why I think this party was much bigger than just a small group, because somebody was communicating with them even when they were in Egypt. There were probably servants traveling back and forth, telling the people in and around Jerusalem, probably part of Zechariah's family, where they were, and also informing them in Egypt that was what was going on in Bethlehem, Ein Kiarim, and Jerusalem, and all the other places. And finally, we come to the point where Herod dies. And a message is sent to the group in Egypt as they're traveling around, telling them that this has happened. So they think now the danger is past. And by this is recorded not for us by Luke, but Matthew. But they start returning now from Egypt. But as they come out of Egypt, somebody in the Jerusalem area just gets a warning that it's not yet finished. They're not yet completely satisfied that this Messiah character, this King of the Jews who has been born, whether they have actually captured him, whether they've actually killed him, they still are watching carefully to see what is happening and to be aware of what is happening. So as they return from Egypt, another message is sent down and said, be careful. If you take that child back to Bethlehem, where Joseph and Mary were going to go with Jesus, there'll be people there who will remember. And they had lost their own children. But there might be also people there who will report to the Herod family, to the sons of Herod who are now in authority. They might report to them that this family, which were not captured, has returned to Bethlehem. Or they might even report from Ein Kiarim as well. That's this young boy who was born after the angel had given this particular prophecy that people had been wondering about, that this young child too had come back to Ein Kiarim. And so a warning is sent to the party as they come back. And Joseph and Mary and Jesus, instead of going to Bethlehem, decide to return to their home in Nazareth. And John, well, he is taken probably to live near the Qumran monks in the wilderness, where he would be quite safe. He'll be protected by them and brought up by them, because the Qumran monks often took into their keeping young boys and trained them up in all the things that they were doing. Now, John never became a Qumran monk, but he is still kept there in safety, probably financed by his family, but kept there in safety to be kept away from those who might seek his life and try and kill him. And so these two young boys are now growing up, one in Nazareth and one probably in Qumran. Now, just want to point out to you simply that when Matthew's Gospel was written, there would still have been people aware of these events. It would be part of their memory. And so when it was written down, there were people who would have said, no, this did not happen. So we have to accept that Matthew's account is accurate, even though Luke himself doesn't actually record it. One small detail, which is of little consequence. There's been a mistake in the timeline as far as the dating of these things are concerned. And what we find is that Herod died in about 1 BC. Why? Because people miscalculated the years. But we know when he actually died. And so, in fact, Jesus was born not on the year 0, but he was in fact born in about 4 BC. Because when they worked out his date of birth, somebody got their figures wrong. But now he is returning round about the age of 3 to 4 years of age, and he's been brought up in Nazareth. Luke, in the meantime, just passes over all of these events and just looks forward. He says quite simply, when Joseph and Mary had done all the things necessary, well, they returned to Nazareth. And Luke himself makes a jump. He goes from this particular age, he moves forward through the years to Jesus' bar mitzvah. Every year, you see, his parents, because they were Orthodox Jews, would have travelled down to Jerusalem for the great feasts. They'd have been there for Passover. They'd have been there probably even for Pentecost. They may have been even there for this Feast of Tabernacles. But every year, they would travel at least a couple of times down to Jerusalem for the great feasts. And on this particular occasion, Jesus was about 12 years of age, and he goes down to Jerusalem with his parents. Now, it's something we don't understand in our society, and that is, as a young boy growing up, he would stay with the children, he would play with the children, he would be educated with the children, but he would definitely be regarded as a child until this particular age. But when he had his bar mitzvah, now suddenly something special happens. He is no longer part of the child family, he's part of the adult family, and he's about to start his apprenticeship. That was the point when it happened. Amen.